welcome to A Pinch of Basile. I am your host with the most. That's right, I am Basil. And if you're joining us on Facebook, thank you so much. But don't forget, you can call us in. You can call in right now at 844-790-8255. That's 844-790-8255. If you're joining us on Facebook, again, thank you. But you can also follow me on Basil Fans, BASILE FANS, on, of course, Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We keep our handles all the way the same, consistent for your entertainment, pleasure, and ease. So we've streamlined on Facebook. You can listen online to americamatters.us and on the TuneIn app from any phone or tablet. Just search America Matters. No, you really don't have any excuse whatsoever to go ahead and not follow us, for God's sakes. So, listen, we want you to join in anytime. Come in, get off from the sidelines, join in, and call us. That number again, 844-790-8255. And don't forget, we are heard on Greek Beat Radio.
Greek Beats Radio. Beats Radio. Beats Radio. Beats Radio. Beats Radio.
You know, folks, the effects that we have on this show are second to none. I'm just going to let you know. We actually have a man somewhere in a canyon who just says Greek Beat Radio.
That's it. That's what happens.
At our expense.
Pay lots of money for that.
You can hear us on Greek Beat Radio.
No, he got lost.
The moment has passed.
He's in the
canyon. Here you go.
Greek Beat Radio.
Greek Beat Radio.
See? Now we got a female in the canyon.
And the timing is so unbelievable. That's the important thing. We are simpatico when it comes to
Absolutely.
Anyway, I want to let you all know, listen, because we are all over the world, not only here in the United States and across, but we're across that little pond. We're in the UK. We're in London right now, where it's roughly about 11:05, 11:06, somewhere like that, in the evening. And then it broadcasts all over to all my fans in Australia. Yasas Bedia, how you guys doing? And all my fans to South Africa, all my fans to Canada, United States, even South America. And I got to be honest with you, I love all my fans. A lot of big news that we're going to be doing. But before we even get to that, I want to bring in my wonderful co-host, Janice Hermson. Janice, how are you?
I am well, and you sound wonderful, and I love your shirt.
Oh, thank you so much. And, of course, we couldn't do this show with the ever so wonderful, beautiful man who has the timing of a dead rhinoceros. But I'm telling you, our chief engineer, Christian. Christian, how you doing? Christian Meyer, what's going on, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Well, your timing is just huge. I mean, the way when I say Greek Beat Radio, and then you just threw that effect in, blew me away. Okay, on that note, anyway, it's good to have everyone listening right now. We have a great guest tonight, M.L. Huey, author of Spitfire. And is it Libby Nash?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, it's a Libby Nash mystery. He'll be joining us in the second half of the show. As the story goes, it's right after VE, victory in Europe, in 1946 in London, World War II. Is long over, and former spy Libby Nash is celebrating with her third drink before noon. Now, I already like this chick.
I figured you'd like her, yeah.
Absolutely. And what I like even more about her, she likes to kill her booze a little bit with some vodka. And I love that, too. I think if she and I, I'm just saying. Anyway, she went to war to kill Nazis, dropped behind enemy lines as a courier. She quickly became one of the toughest agents in France. I love stories like this. I love heroines like this who are simply, because, a lot of people don't even know. I have so much respect for all the women who participated in the Second World War, not only in combat, but Rosie the Riveter and everything she's done to get our actual tanks and machine guns. It was all women, guys. Get over it. A lot of guys, but mostly women. So we can talk about that a little bit later. But right now, folks, it's time for Basil Events, and I'm sure we have an effect for that.
Yeah, it's all you.
Don't.
I'm sure I can find something.
It's all you. You're the effect.
I was the effect. Okay.
You are.
Hey, I leave tomorrow. I'm going to go to Jamaica. I'm going to be on Caribbean with Caribbean Royal Cruise Lines. and I'm going to be on the Liberty of the Seas out of Jamaica on March 11th through the 17th, Caribbean Cruise Line, again with Royal Caribbean on the Vision of the Seas. March 26th through April 1st, I'll be on Caribbean Cruise Lines with the Mariner of the Seas, and then April 2nd through the 7th, again, Royal Caribbean, Vision of the Seas. And then I start hitting my Greek shows. I'm going to be doing one in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania at All Saints Greek Orthodox Church, April 25th in Greenlaw, New York at St. Paraskevi, and April 26th in Cleveland, Ohio at the Cretan House. If you want to find out about some of my dates and where I'll be performing, just go to basillive.com. That's BASILE. Always put an E at the end of my name, basillive.com. Always check out where we're at. Anything else going on that I should know about, Janice?
Here's your sound effect. I'm just kidding.
There you go. See there?
Et tu, Brute. That's all I'm saying. When you stick the knife in my ribs, make sure you twist like that. Nice. I like that. Okay, one of my favorite things. But we are going to be coming back very, very shortly. We got a lot to catch up, folks. We will have a brand new effect. You think we're only going to stop at sound effects? We're going to have a wonderful brand new effect starting next week. Christian, will be ready for next week?
I certainly think, or at least hope so.
Yeah, we should be ready by next week or the week after with our new background. It's going to be gorgeous. So stick around for more of that. You're listening to A Pinch of Basile. We're going to be coming back. We got to do that little sponsor thing. But before we do the sponsor thing, I just want to do one more shout out on a serious note. I want to thank Greek Beat Radio from the bottom of my heart for spreading this wonderful show all over the world. They're doing a great job. And I love all my UK followers. But not only that, you're all throughout Europe. So we're hitting the Yermani, that's the German Greeks. We're hitting the Australian Greek. I mean, we're hitting everything from all over the world. And so I want to thank Greek Beat Radio for letting us be part of their show and getting our full hour of the Pinch of Basile. But we're going to be right back after these messages. Stay tuned for more Pinch of Basile after these messages.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
Now back to the show.
Oh, we are indeed back. You're listening to Basile all around the world. Go to the TuneIn app, find America Matters, or just listen live every week at americamatters.us. We are connecting to the Greek communities around the world via Greek Beat Radio.
Greek Beats Radio. Beats Radio. Beats Radio. Beats Radio. Beats Radio.
How do we afford effects like that, folks? Don't ask. It's in the budget. If you miss any part of the show, you'll find them under podcasts on the America Matters site under A Pinch of Basile or on Facebook at Basile Fans. That's right. We're right on right now. So make sure. I'm just, go to our to our Facebook. You can always go to our Facebook. Like me, go to Basile Fans, Basile Fans. We treat it just like my personal page. So I want all of you to go ahead and make sure you follow me. So much stuff. If you ever want to find out where the heck we are, you can always find out where we're at by going to Basile Live, BASILELIVE.com. Always check out for our dates, see if we're coming to a city near you. That's about it.
Are you done now? You going home?
Yeah. I'm hungry.
That's about it. Oh, we're done.
I can eat.
All right.
I can eat.
Yeah, I threw you for a loop there, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
I was just, taking off my headset, heading on home.
Yeah, I was just gonna, taking off. I figure I might as well do something fun, once in a while. I don't have fun like the way I used to back in the day when there was no responsibilities and stuff like that. It was always nice. But,
or we could talk about mustard.
Yeah, sure. I'm glad that you just brought that up right off the cuff. It's amazing how, yeah. Okay. What would you like to discuss about mustard?
Well, did you know that the Greeks and Romans used mustard for much more than just a condiment?
I think it was a sexual aphrodisiac right after
That's
oysters.
what you would think, yeah. That's
of course, because that's just the kind of pig that I am.
No. Pythagoras endorsed a poultice of mustard seeds as a cure for scorpion stings. That's interesting. I've been close to having scorpion stings, but fortunately didn't have to use mustard. Hippocrates praised mustard paste as a miracle remedy capable of soothing pains and aches. Come on, no.
Stop right there. You gotta tell people who Hippocrates was.
Oh, come on. You don't know?
There's a lot of people who don't know who all the Greeks know who Hippocrates is.
Well, that's who we're talking to.
Oh, yeah. The first Greek rapper in Greece back in the day was Hippocrates. He was he's the first doctor. I'm just saying. Hey, see how I did that?
That was well done.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Continue. Hippocrates was the first doctor registered. When you take the Hippocratic Oath, it's the Hippocrates Oath.
Yes. Well, do they still take the Hippocratic Oath? I thought I heard that they did not do that anymore. You think they do? I'd have to look that up.
If there are any doctors watching right now,
I'd be interested to hear that because I heard rumor of that.
Yeah, I wonder.
So, yeah, I do wonder, especially with the way our medicine is turning in some ways.
Right.
So anyway, the remedy for soothing aches and pains, and then the Roman physicians used it to ease toothaches.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. And then it's been used for appetite stimulation, sinus clearing, frostbite prevention. I just had no idea that mustard was such a cure-all. My husband loves mustard. I buy him at Christmas boxes of mustards because he loves them so much.
Best mustard that I've ever had in my life. And I'm not saying that because I lived in Cleveland for a bunch of years. But Cleveland Stadium mustard is the most. As a matter of fact, I get it shipped down here by my cousin Gary Thomas and his lovely wife Crystal. They send me actually stadium mustard from Cleveland, Ohio.
That's funny.
It is the best mustard ever. I have it with hot dogs, with hamburgers. I put it on my steaks. I just love mustard. It's Cleveland
funny.
Stadium mustard.
Yeah.
It's a specialty.
I'll have to order some for John then because, he just loves mustard.
I'll send
Puts
some
it
up
on
to
everything. You. Yes, he would love it. I know he would.
John? Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it, some of the stuff as far as, we already know, and also, Greeks used it all the time for, like you said, for medical reasons. And there's other different ways that they use it, which is really bizarre. Some of the things that my grandmother would tell me, I didn't know if she was full of it or if
maybe she was telling you the truth.
I think she was, if it wasn't something that was going to be plastered on you, like giving you some type of a mustard bath or giving you some, I'm like, no, I like eating it, but
I'm not wearing it. No, thank you anyway.
Yeah. So tell me so the Romans did it. Now tell me about King Louis. Is it the 9th?
Oh, you're going to take me to another page, right? Let me get, yes. That is the 11th. No, that's okay. That's the 11th, yes. Good old Roman numeral XI.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you what, the French monarch considered the condiment so essential to his culinary experience that he kept and put
a pot with him at all times.
Oh, my God. You know what? It indeed is a pot.
It is a pot
with him of all times. So not as to be disappointed if he were to be served a meal in a household that wasn't fully stocked.
See, now I have to tell John that's what he needs to do. Take his mustard with him.
Or keep some pot in an empty mustard jar.
There you go. Well, it's legal here, so he could do that.
Yeah, big surprise. Nevada? Come on, the hell you say?
Yep, it's a legal thing, so he could actually do that and be okay.
All right, so go ahead and tell me some of the other ones about the Romans. Go ahead, because I know I went about a little bit.
No, that's all right. You can share that. Which one are you looking at?
No, I'm looking at number 5 that you had. Most of today's Dijon mustards isn't from Dijon.
No, it's not.
So when the Romans conquered the Gauls, they brought mustard seeds with them. I really wonder what the hell these people, because I know, you ever have mustard greens?
I have not.
They eat them all the
Christian
time here
has.
in North Carolina.
He's shaking his head yes.
And I don't want to eat them.
Not so good, huh?
Better than kale.
Yeah, God. Dog crap is better than kale. Let me just tell you something. I cannot eat kale. And my wife's always like, you got to try this. This is delicious. No, I do not want kale. No thank
Not
you.
so much.
No, a simple ingredient swapped added with a new tang to old mustard recipes. When Jean Nagon, is it Nagon?
Got me.
Jean Nagon thought to use verjuice and the acidic juice of an unripe grapes instead of the traditional vinegar, a chance so easy to replicate that the recipe couldn't be contained to a single city. Today, Dijon mustard can be made anywhere. Shut up. Anywhere in the world.
It's all right. You got the name. I didn't get that.
Yeah. Well, listen. The names I can do. Dijon. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Comes to Dijon. What are some of the other mustard?
Well,
mustard
the one
talk
that I
we can
liked
discuss?
is that broccoli is mustard's not so distant cousin. So, Mr. Basil, were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't, but
I
it kind of
wasn't
makes
either.
sense just for the fact that they had mustard greens. So,
yeah,
right?
and the fact that mustard is a plant, and then the prepared mustard is a condiment. So there you go. Right?
Huh. And I
don't think you think about that stuff. I pick up the jar, I put in the knife, and I spread the bread. That's it.
But you know what? You just haven't lived until you had stadium mustard, and I think.
John will enjoy stadium. I'll let him know that you're going to send him some stadium mustard. I
will Cleveland stadium mustard, but for my watchers, for the people who are watching me right now on Facebook, I'm having issues. Let them know how great stadium mustard is, because they just don't understand. A dog isn't a dog without stadium mustard. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Well,
you
would be upset with me because I don't eat mustard on my dog. So,
oh my God!
There's something
wrong with you.
I know.
But you know who's got great hot dogs? Believe it or not, Sam's Club.
Oh,
Have you ever been to Sam's?
I've been to Sam's Club. Yeah, no, I've been to Sam's Club. I don't think I've had any of their dogs though.
Go to their little snack bar that they have at Sam's. They have pizza and stuff like that. Right. Go and get a hot dog. It's huge, number one. I mean, 2 of them is a meal and a half. And I use their mustard. They got a good mustard there. It's okay. But it's not Cleveland Stadium mustard. Cleveland Stadium mustard is
Well, see, you have to do like the king and bring your own pot.
Well, welcome to Nevada, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who are listening to us right now on the road as you're driving, that's right. Just listen to my co-host, Janice Hermson. All letters and complaints go directly to Janice Hermson, in care of America Matters. Okay.
There you go. .us.
Oh, my God. I mean, they got everything. They got, Wisconsin is a lover's paradise for mustard. I can't figure that one out. They say that a jar of mustard in the back of a fridge is probably okay. Well, you know what? That makes sense, because a lot of people during the holiday seasons, when you wind up going ahead and you get you want to get new seasonings and new spices, a lot of people don't know you can have spices in your cabinet for years, and it will never go bad.
Yeah.
A lot of them just
When I was growing up, there were no dates. Come on.
Oh, man, it was
no dates. You open the can. Is it good? Is it bad? Smell it.
Yeah, you just smell it. Yeah, it's not good. That
Throw it away.
But there have been times. There are times, I got to tell you. But anyway, yeah, I tell you what, we got to do that little thing. This is, folks, anytime you want to find out more about mustard and the actual sexual applications involved, you give us a call. Call us at 1-844-790-8255, 844-790-8255. We're going to be right back after these messages. You are indeed listening to A Pinch of Basile.
All right.
Unable to listen to the whole show? A recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now, back to the show.
Oh, we are indeed back with A Pinch of Basile. I am your host with the most. That's right, Basil, Herb and Rosemary's son. Don't forget, we are streaming this live on Facebook. If you're on the computer, just go to americamatters.us. We want to hear your comments. Go to my Basil fans page on Facebook. And if you have any questions, give us a call, 844-790-8255, 844-790-8255. Or you can also text Janice Janice, can you please give them that number?
Absolutely. You can text us at 775-237-2266. Do it
Thank
now.
You so much. Yeah, absolutely. Do it now. Make sure we got a wonderful guest. As a matter of fact, I am pleased to have the opportunity to talk to Michael Huey, author, journalist, writer, teacher, actor. What haven't you done, Michael? Hold on. We got more. In addition to working 10 years as a feature journalist, he has written several plays and has been performed throughout the U.S. and the U.K. Welcome to A Pinch of Basile. Michael, let me tell you, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh my God! So is it allowed? Are we allowed to tell people where you live or in that area, or you rather keep that?
Absolutely.
Secret? All right, we need a street address too, if possible. No more. So, and we want to make sure that everyone goes ahead and abuses you right now, if it's possible. Tell the listeners about your main character in the book. I mean, she seems to like her vodka, and I read that was the first thing I really dug about her. And anyone who drinks vodka, any chick that drinks vodka, got a thumbs up from me. Tell me about her.
Sure. Her name's Livy Nash. She's a young British woman that takes place right after World War II. She was a spy for the British during World War II. Her war ended really badly, pretty tragically. And so when we meet her in 1946 for the first time, she is working at a third-rate newspaper. And as you alluded to the fact, she is makes friends in the evenings with black market vodka. So she's pretty low when we first meet her.
Yeah, well, you know what? You give me a woman like that, I'm her man. Anyway.
And for those folks out there that are listening, you can write your complaints to Basile at
AmericaMatters.
That's right.
Okay,
that's right.
No, I first of all, I love World War II history. I really do. And I guess the biggest question I got, and I'm sure my listeners would like to know as well, your research. How do you wind up getting research on someone like that to actually bring it to life in your novel?
Sure. Well, I'm lucky to be living right now because there is a wealth of nonfiction stuff about World War II, and especially about the women who served. In fact, the thing that inspired this book was I found out about this British spy organization, the SOE, Special Operations Executive. And they basically recruited amateurs who had language skills, gave them training in, sabotage, hand-to-hand combat, parachuting, etc., and then dropped them behind enemy lines in occupied countries. And a number of women were part of that organization. And I thought, wow, I'd never heard about that before. So, but now, I mean, you can go to any bookstore and there's a table usually with plenty of fiction about World War II, especially highlighting kind of women's roles. And then there's the nonfiction section as well. One of the cool things about research that I did was, and this was after I'd written a few drafts of the novel, I happened to meet, and as you said, I'm from North Carolina, a guy who's a French veteran of World War II. He's going to be 99 this month. He's 99 this month. His name's Andre. He and I became friends, and his wife was in the French Resistance. She's passed away now. But so, when I had a question like, hey, Andre, where do you go to use the phone on the street in Paris in 1946? He said, you've got to go to a cafe. So that's the fun kind of research.
Wow. We used to, I'm originally from Long Island, New York, and my mother and father owned a restaurant. Greeks owning a restaurant? Who knew? Actually, they wound up having these beautiful French couple, and their last name was Leroux. And Mr. and Mrs. Leroux worked for the French underground. My mom told me the story because I was too young to really, truly appreciate the story. And my mom told me how the Leroux worked for the underground, the French underground. And also Mr. Leroux, I can't remember his last name. He was actually very close with de Gaulle, which I really knew nothing about. My mom told me a little bit, and she goes, I don't know anything else. And it really amazed me about the stories and what these people went through. To be part of the underground at that time was simply crazy. But tell me a little bit more, because I know that you've written plays, and to go from plays to a novel, it's got to be a lot different as far as the approach that you took to write this to write this novel, and instead of going from speaker to speaker, that you're going to all these parts and everything you're going. How did you adapt to that?
Well, my journey, I started as an actor first, and still kind of consider myself an actor, although I don't get to do as much of it as I would like to right now. But yeah, and writing a play just sort of seemed, the plays that I wrote were mostly for me to perform. So I'm not I wouldn't give myself the mantle of legit playwright. But I mean, it's in all three things. As an actor, as a playwright, and as a novelist, you're doing the same things. You're creating characters. Characters want something. There are obstacles in their way. But I mean, in terms of just writing, I sat down about 12 years ago, started writing. I wrote 2 novels that still only will stay in the drawer of my desk at my office. My wife has read them. She's very nice. But no one else would read it. So it's really the 3rd novel that I wrote. And after reading, it, I thought, okay, I can show this to someone outside the house.
That's where you look at it. I think anytime you write something, I've written a couple of films. One that I was asked to write for this gentleman who's a big Greek fan of mine in Greece. Gave me a lot of money. He says, I want you to write a vehicle for yourself, something. And I wrote this story. And I just couldn't. I thought, first of all, I think the first screenplay turned out to be like 175 pages. If anyone knows anything about screenplay, you got to keep them about 110 to 120. But everything was so important. So my agent at that time says, you know what, this would be a tremendous book. So you ever taken any ideas that you want to read as a screenplay and then turn it into a book? Anytime you've done something like that?
Well, as you said about writing a play versus writing a novel, it's 2 different things. Although a lot of novels are very dialogue driven these days. Mm-hmm. And I think dialogue is quite frankly hard to write.
True.
The thing is, you just, with a film, it's, the visual medium, obviously, in a way, as is theater. So you've got to create everything in a novel. You can't rely on, a set designer or, the location to do the job for you. You've got to create the location in the reader's mind. And to me, that's probably the most difficult thing to do.
I'm looking forward.
Well, it's in top 10 at least.
Yes. I mean, I'm looking forward to reading. Hopefully, I get a chance to go ahead and read this quickly. I'm going to be leaving in a day or so to go to Jamaica, then catch a boat. So I'm hoping it gets there by then. Janice, do you have any questions before I go on?
I do. What do you think was, or did you find anything that was really surprising you as you did your research and in the process of creating this book?
Yeah, the work that the people in the SOE and the resistance, because they worked together, was incredibly dangerous. I mean, really dangerous. One person in each unit, it was usually a 5-person unit, had the job of being the wireless operator. That means that for 10 minutes, usually every night, they would, get in a secure location, not a secure like maybe a barn location, turn on the wireless and send a message back to London. For those 10 minutes while they were on the wireless, the Germans could pick up their signal and were actively trying to find them.
Wow.
Those wireless operators. And if they're found, then it's off to prison or a concentration camp, or Hitler had this commando order that commandos and spies could be shot on sight. So it's incredibly dangerous. And they did a lot of things that were unorthodox. One of my most unusual pieces of research, I went through 2 agents. My first agent said, that's unrealistic, although I read it, was that they planted bombs in dead rats.
Ooh.
Small bombs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just
sorry. Just a reaction.
A quote that I found that's in a lot of books about someone in the resistance. It says, "It's maybe hard to believe, but this was the most exciting time to be alive."
Wow. It's kind of funny you mentioned putting dynamite or bombs, if you will, in rats. If being Greek, we find any type of movie that involves Second World War in Greece, we find it very, very interesting. There was a movie called The Guns of Navarone. If you ever saw that.
Yeah.
And there was what they did was they actually put a couple of sticks of dynamite in a dead rat, And when the elevator was going down, this is the elevator that would take down the ammunition or take it up to the guns or take it down. I can't remember now. They found it in a rat. And so that to me was like an amazing, because that was like the big thing that was going to blow everything up. And they found it in the rat. And they go, it's a rat. Yeah, but it's full of dynamite. And the Germans found it, but they didn't find the secondary thing that really blew up that mountain in Navarone. So that was funny that you mentioned that. That's really very, very interesting. Janice, listen, we got 35 seconds to go. Is there a quick question you want to give real quick?
No, but I want to make sure that you can tell everyone where they can get your book.
Absolutely. Well, you can find links to it on my website, mlhuey.com, Huie. And you can go to Amazon and find it there. IndieBound and find it at your local independent bookstore, Barnes & Noble. There's an audiobook. It's on Kindle. It's out there. If you want it,
everywhere.
You can find it.
And we're going to talk more about it right after these messages from our sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, you are indeed listening to A Pinch of Basile. We'll be right back.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now, back to the show.
No, I'm so glad you can join us. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to A Pinch of Basile. We've been having some fun talking with Michael Huey, author of Spitfire, a Libby Nash mystery. What else can you tell us about Libby that we don't already know that you told us?
Well, she is, I think one of the important things about the book is Libby, as I mentioned earlier, she's had a bad war and she is pretty depressed and drinking herself to sleep every night when we first meet her. And then she meets Ian Fleming. Of course, Fleming is the man who went on to write the James Bond novels. And Fleming actually recruits her to go back to Paris, where her war ended, and find this traitor who killed the man she loved. So Ian Fleming, while sort of a supporting character, is also in it. He was in intelligence, in naval intelligence during the war, but after the war, he ran foreign correspondence for the London Sunday Times. And Fleming said that a lot of his correspondents were spies. So when I read that, I put those two things together, women and the British spies, what happened to them after the war, and Fleming sort of as this M figure, and got a book out of it. So Fleming plays a pretty important role.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if that's why Commander Bond was always in the Navy. I never wondered why they never picked the Army, but it was always Navy. Yeah, so
because
now I know.
Fleming was in the Navy. I will say this about that, just because Ian Fleming is in the book, Libby is by no means a Bond girl. She is she's a heroine of a different type. She's working class. She's very direct, tough, funny. I think there's a line in the book where someone says there's not a delicate bone in your body. So she's not maybe sort of the typical sort of female spy that you sometimes meet in fiction or in films.
So if I may, considering that you're writing this from a female perspective, how did you put yourself into that position as far as, looking at it and saying, okay, and even though she does have those characteristics, which tend, not to be super feminine, how did you get yourself there?
Well, it's a great question. I'll answer it a couple of ways. First of all, Libby has a lot of me. Not that I'm a spy who's now an alcoholic, but some of her upbringing, the way she was raised, and kind of her working class background, I think, comes from me. My first reader, as I said, is my wife. She's a woman, and she tells me, if Michael, this seems like you're writing from a man's point of view right here. My editor, terrific editor for the first two books, and she did the same thing. So they kept me honest because I certainly want to be truthful in writing a woman. But I sort of also feel a little bit like one of my favorite authors is a woman named Megan Abbott. and she writes crime novels. And she once said, I write killers, but I'm not a killer. So, I write a female protagonist, the main character, but I'm not a woman. But my goal is still to be truthful to what, how a woman might feel. And of course, I read a couple of biographies of real women who did this sort of work during the war. So that gave me a bit of background as well.
So you were able to pull some of those characteristics from that as well.
Absolutely. There are two women Libby's based on. One of them is called Nancy Wake. And there's a great story about her that when she parachuted behind enemy lines in France, her parachute got hung in a tree. Yeah. And a member of the French resistance, a man, came up to her and said, "Oh, I wish all the trees in France bore such beautiful fruit." And Nancy Wake apparently said to him, "Cut the French crap." And when I read that, I thought, that's the kind of character I want to see in one of these books. Because a lot of times these female protagonists in these sort of novels end up hobnobbing with dukes and countesses. And I can assure you, Libby will be completely out of place in that environment.
So
interesting.
Did you then look at it from a man's perspective after you wrote the character? Did you view it from a male perspective, or did you even worry about that?
I didn't even worry about that. Okay. I mean, I just wanted to tell the story.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so, but I just wondered.
Yeah. Make her journey as honest as I could. Of course, she's surrounded by men. She's found when she's in Paris, she finds herself kind of caught between an American spy that she has sort of a fling with, but she still wonders, can she trust him? And an older Russian spy. I mean, you have to remember at this time, 1946, the Russians were our allies during World War II. So
right.
She's still at the point where she's sort of questioning, who do I trust, the Americans or the Russians? Well, I'll let you see what happens.
There's a good teaser.
What do you because when I write, I always find that I'm always attracted to strong women. That's me. My wife's the same way, a very, very strong woman. I'm attracted to them. They not necessarily have to be, popular, but they had to be able to hold their own. I never liked those weak women who are like, I don't want to do this. I'm lost without you. I really always wanted a woman that was a very, very strong woman, and that's the way I write all my female characters. Believe it or not, that I really enjoy.
I think complex,
yes,
sometimes damaged people of both genders are what readers are looking for these days. I think people have a lot less patience with a character that isn't fully, filled out or just serves a function in the plot. So yeah, that's certainly what I was trying to do with her and with all the other characters as well. There's another woman who sort of I guess we would call her maybe sort of a femme fatale character. That's broad generalization. And with working with my editor, I really filled that character out so much more. I expect that further down the road in the series, we'll be seeing her return because she became such an interesting character.
Right. When you're not on the clock, what do you like to do as far as read? What do you like to read? I mean, what do you do on your free time?
Well, I read, my book is basically a spy novel, and I have read a lot of spy novels, over my lifetime.
Sure.
I like the genre that I'm in. I like crime stories, not really true crime so much, but, crime novels, mysteries. That's pretty much where I stay. Yeah.
It's a nice neighborhood. Don't get me wrong.
I like it.
Any ones, I guess, is there any other writers or authors that you really dig, that you really like their style of writing?
Yeah, my current favorite is a guy named Mick Herron, who's British, who has a spy series about a group of MI5 agents who got kicked out of MI5 for screwing up. And they're all sort of this team. It's a wonderful series, Mick Herron, Herron. I really like him. There's another American named Olin Steinhauer, who I think is the best American spy novelist as far as I'm concerned. And in crime, I mentioned Megan Abbott, who I really like. The great James Elroy, who wrote L.A. Confidential, Black Dahlia, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Philip Kerr is another. He unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. He has a terrific World War II based series about a German detective named Bernie Gunther, who is sort of the German Philip Marlowe. But it's complicated because he's a German, not a Nazi, but he lives during the Nazi time, and he's the war and the Nazi party kind of sweep him up at times. It's a terrific series, like 14 or 15 books, and he just passed away early at a young age. But I would definitely recommend him.
Wonderful. What are you working on now? I mean, you have anything coming out?
I have some stuff cooking. The second book in the Libby series, the Libby Nash series, comes out in September. And it's called Nightshade. Livy comes to Washington, D.C. The first two books are set in London and Paris. So the research for this was less expensive. And then we'll see what happens from there. There's a third book, and I'm working on something that's totally different from Livy right now.
A little intrigue there, right?
We gotta make sure that because as soon as I wind up reading, I know I'm going to have you back on the air.
I hope so.
I know. Because I'm just when it comes to Second World War history and what happens afterwards and the reconstruction of Europe, to me is always something special. Hey, before we do anything else, please let your people know one more time about your website where they can get the book, because it's very, very important. I want to make sure that everyone gets this book.
Absolutely. My website is mlhuey.com. I'm all over social media. Instagram, ML Huey Books. I'm on Twitter, at Michael Huey 1, the number 1. You can find me on Facebook, ML Huey as well.
Wonderful. And you can get the books on Amazon as well?
Amazon, absolutely. Barnes & Noble, your local independent bookstore. It's on Audible. If you like audiobooks, and of course on Kindle as well. Beautiful.
Well, Michael, listen, I can't say enough. Thank you so much for being part of our show.
And
I can't wait to get the book because I really want to read this now. So I'm very intrigued. Thank you so much for being part of this.
Thank you.
And for all of you. And for anyone who right now, I want to remind everyone, you can listen every week on Tuesdays from 6 to 7 New York City time. That means Eastern Standard Time for those people all around the world. That's right. We can be heard all around the world on AmericaMatters.us and on Greek Beat Radio.
Greek Beats Radio. Beats Radio. Beats Radio.
The money we spare, no expense, anything here. You're listening to you can all, if you're using the TuneIn app, just search America Matters and be sure to keep it on one of your favorites. Questions, comments, go to Basile Fans on Facebook, Instagram, or on Twitter. Give me a call at 844-790-8255.